Hello all you hardcore boxing fans out there, how are you doing? It's Porky here, the voice of hardcore boxing. But then again, you know that, don't you? Because that's why you tuned in. Today, I'm joined by Kent, but first of all, I want to thank everybody for liking and subscribing and sharing these videos on your WhatsApp. We've been looking at the analytics this morning and people are sharing them, so the pennies finally dropped. How are you doing, Kent? The hardcore's hardcore.
It's always great to be on, Russell, talking boxing with you. It's always good to be on.
Good man. Good man. I don't really know where to start, so we'll just go balls deep, shall we? Eddie Hearn's 72-minute sermon on Boxing Social with Rob Tebbert. Very interesting. I think he could be on the outside looking in as regards working in America. What do you think, Ken?
Russell, this channel, as we know, we've been talking about this. You've been talking about this for months now. So the first thing that Eddie Hearn did when he went to work with DAZN last year was basically say, I'm going to destroy the pay-per-view market in America. It's too dear, it's too pricey, and it's not good for the fans. So if you were a business, Russell, and if you were Al Heyman and you were Bob Arum, you were Golden Boy, you were Mayweather Promotions, would you work with this guy and let him destroy your brand and your business?
No, I wouldn't, mate. I'd block him. Like he blocked Frank Warren for years, hasn't he? I mean, what have they done? 4 fights with Warren in 10 years. So if he can block Warren, they're now blocking Hearn now, aren't they? So they're giving him a taste of his own medicine. The bullet is being bullied.
Yeah, he's just come into their market. You know, these guys, as we've known this last lot of weeks, and I even forgot to mention Shelly Finkel there, you know, Hearn's been trolling him for years. And Bob Arum, you know, Bob Arum may be in his late 80s, but he's been around the sport a long, long time. These guys are Harvard lawyers. They're Harvard graduates. Russell, Eddie Hearn's only promoting 10 years, and he was handed the business basically as a plate. Do you think he actually really understands the business?
I think he understands the profit and non-profit, the balance sheets. I think he understands that. And I can understand that because I've seen paperwork and contracts for stuff Sky do, and I do know how it works. Eddie likes to keep the TV money, and he likes the show to pay for itself and the commercial sponsorship and that, and anything left over, he likes to keep that. But he doesn't like to put shows on and do his conkers. That's his words. So he knows that if he's got 20 Sky shows, £3 million a year, he wants that £3 million for himself, 150 a show. So it's up to him then to sell the hell out of all the shows across social media, across all his little pals on YouTube and Twitter and all that. Now, he does what the other promoters don't do because they're all dinosaurs, you know, Warren and Dennis Hobson, Mick Hennessy and all them. They don't do that. They just take the TV money and then they hope that the fighters do a few tickets, don't they? They don't hammer it, do they, like Hearn does? So I can see why he does that, but he also is in love with himself, isn't he? As well. You know, he's totally in love with himself. If he were a Twix, he'd eat himself, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well, it just goes back this last set of months. Eddie Hearn seems to be putting himself in these situations and attaching himself to absolutely every situation going, everything. You know, we've even, you know, got the whole NHS ticket thing, you know, the 200 tickets per show. He even made COVID and the NHS about himself, and we haven't heard a thing about it yet. You know, the guy's charging many nurses and NHS workers are going to get a £750 ticket plus £50 booking fee for free, Russell. How many?
Yeah. He's going to do a competition for a man and wife, I've been told, or you know, a couple, 2 people. So what's that? Peanuts, isn't it? 1,600 quid, isn't it?
It's absolutely nothing. You know, Eddie's kind of like come into boxing, and I look at it and I look at his fighters and I look at his profile. So in your opinion, Russell, should the promoter's profile be bigger than the fighters?
No, but that was Don King's saying back in the day, wasn't it? Never let the fighter be bigger than the promoter. And Eddie's looked at that and thought, yeah. And his dad got the same. His dad got the same with snooker. His dad was saying with snooker when he was just managing Steve Davis. He kept talking about how I want to take snooker over and this and that and sign everybody. So first he signed everybody, then he took snooker over. And he did it with darts. What they are, the narcissists, the Hearns, the greedy narcissists. That's what they are. And nobody's standing up to them, only me and other people who come on here. Asylum, Terry Chapadama, beautiful boxing podcast. Big shout out Terry. Rico, New Age Podfather. There's a few standing up to them, but not many. All right, not many, because they all want access, don't they, Ken?
Yeah, everyone's about access. You know, even now that you see that before those interviews were always going on IFL, always those 90-minute, 70-minute interviews were always dropping with IFL, because IFL did obviously build Hearn in that profile. Now all of a sudden it's they've got their own YouTube channel, they've got their own platform, and now Boxing Social seem to be getting a lot more content. So do you think Eddie just uses people for convenience and drops them when he's had enough?
Well, is Rob Tebbutt going around to Eddie Hearn's house for Sunday dinner? No, he ain't, is he? Is he going out for a beer with him? He might see him at a matchroom function, but they're not going out with the wives, are they? So they're not mates. It's acquaintances. They don't do mates. They do acquaintances. That's what they do. If you don't believe me, go and speak to ex-fighters. I'm not going to mention any names. Go speak to ex-fighters from Matchroom. They'll tell you he doesn't do mates. He does money. So
it's this old thing, you know, Russell. I don't want to hear that. I'm everybody's friend. My fighters are my family. My fighters are my mates. That is absolute nonsense. I'm just sick of hearing why is it nowadays people can't be an acquaintance, it can't be a business partner, we can't have a working relationship? Why is it all mates? Why is everyone's mate in boxing at the minute?
Because they all want to get into a position where they could earn money, because 97% of them don't want to go out into the real world and get a job. If you don't believe me, well, look at Dave Allen. What's he been doing for the last 19 months? Done a few gigs at Dennis's, but other than that, what does he do? Well, they don't want to go to job centre, do they, and get a job? So they just hang around sport, don't they? So
it's that old thing where they get themselves in that position of, you know, of trust with Hearn, and they think they're in that circle, and once they've got their purpose, they're just completely recycled, completely gone. You know, I'm sure Eddie promised Dave some sort of TV career on Sky when everybody really knew that he was going to DAZN anyway. So that was a complete farce. That to believe that, you kind of have to be to blame yourself if you're actually to believe that.
Well, Dave Allen believed it for months. He then realised that he was all a load of pony, and he jumped ship, didn't he? But okay, Eddie spoke about a lot of things. He spoke about Tank Davis fighting Devin Haney, Lopez fighting Devin Haney, and Dylan White fighting Charles Martin. But none of these other people want to help him out, really, with these fights. Why is that?
No, because it's getting into business. It's getting into this isn't Eddie's territory. America is not Eddie's territory, and Eddie's coming in as an outsider into their backyard, and he thinks everyone's going to make fights with him. That was never going to happen. You know, the very fact that he burnt a bridge right away and basically told all the promoters, I'm going to destroy your business model and I'm going to basically put you out of business. We all know, Russell, the pay-per-view platform in America for boxing is $80, $90, $100. So that is massive revenue. He wants to take that away from them. So why would they want to work with them? You know, why would they?
Yeah. Well, they're not going to do because he's upset them all, hasn't he? And he were even still going on about it, like he's relentless and this and that. Relentless is somebody that's picked himself up off the floor and made comebacks in life. He hadn't had to do that in his life, has he? So I don't call him relentless. I call him a hard worker, but he's jetting about on aeroplanes, first class, and limousines, and first class travel, and hotels, and just talking boxing into a microphone all day. Is that relentless and hard work? I don't think it's hard work. I think it's like being like a kid being let loose in a sweet shop. Do you agree?
Absolutely. You know, there's a big difference between someone like, you go back and you look at promoters who have started really with nothing. You look at Frank Warren. Frank Warren started off working. Basically, Frank Warren's way in was his cousin Lenny McLean. You look at promoters like Steve Goodwin. You look at guys like Mick Hennessy. These promoters didn't have a multi-million-pound business handed on their lap. So these guys started this from scratch. Eddie's not relentless. Eddie has been given a platform, you know, that already had a TV network and already had a promotional outfit. So he's not relentless. In my opinion, Russell, I don't know what your opinion is on it. Eddie Hearn's like a ready meal that just hasn't been dinged yet. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly. I do think that, mate. I do think that. But let me just give a big shout out to Cosmetic Beach before I forget. Big shout out Cosmetic Beach, Michelle Hudson. 6 week, I'll be in Italia, Turkey. I don't think that Eddie's American dream is going to last too long. Eddie's slice of the American pie. I don't think so, do you?
No, Russell, I don't. I think the attention, I think he knows that. I think he knows that with the way the Wilder and the Fury, Joshua, and even Wilder to an extent, all those fights that never happened. You know, Eddie's talking about making fights happen. You know, Eddie can just about make British title fights, never mind make these massive fights in America. I think if you look, Russell, the language the last 8 weeks has been Mexico. It has been other territories other than America. But really, to sustain the zone, do you think that he needs it? It's crucial that he gets some sort of revenue from the American market.
Yeah, I do think it's crucial that he gets some revenue from it, but I just feel that he's gone about it in the wrong way, and I feel that these people have got long memories, haven't they? And don't forget, Al Heyman and Bob Arum have put some of the biggest fights on in the world in America that's ever happened. Do you know what I mean? And in the world, you know, Pacquiao, Mayweather, McGregor, and, you know, Hagler and Hearns and Tommy Hearns and Durant, stuff like that.
Yeah, we're talking about, you know, you said this months ago, Al Heyman and Bob Arum, these are serious dogs.
Big dogs. You know, whoa, 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 whoa.
These are serious dogs. And, you know, Eddie's in their backyard and these guys have been, so you look at it, Eddie's promoting 10 years, officially 10 years as the head of boxing at Matchroom. Al Heyman's been promoting fights since 1970. Bob Arum has. Al Heyman's come in off a massive music entertainment business, and he's a lot of contracts with all sorts of networks. So these are really big dogs, and Eddie's just flipping burnt his bridges before he's even started in America. Does that tell you that there's a bit of like naivety there in Eddie's behalf?
Eddie's a prick. It's as simple as that, man. He's a prick, and he's heading for Skid Row.
What do you think about, you know, he said that a lot of weeks back there that, so we've got guys like Dillian White, Derek Chisora, you've got Anthony Joshua, they're pay-per-view guys. They're guys who have been getting big pay-per-view money for the last 2 or 3 years on the pay-per-view platform. Do you think if they go to DAZN, and Matchroom, they'll be getting a lot less money, and do you think they'll go?
I know for a fact that the punters are getting a lot less at Sky than, a lot less money at DAZN than they were at Sky. And I think that Eddie's more or less saying now, if you come to DAZN, the money's not like what it were. You're coming for the opportunity. Too many promoters now are taking advantage of the situation, and they're saying, look, you're going to have to take a lot less for the opportunity. And kids are thinking, well, we better take this chance here because we don't know where the world's going to end up, do we? And I think they're manipulating it. And I think he's got a pot of gold there and you just don't want to part with it. That's what I think. I think he's got them all tied up on contracts and now they're paying them shite.
Yeah, Russell, I think that everybody goes on about the DAZN deal is actually better than the Sky deal. I kind of disagree with that a wee bit. I think the deal on Sky, he didn't have a budget to take production out of. So that was already a part of it. Sky handled that. And he had that model of 4 to 5 pay-per-views a year. At DAZN, he doesn't have that. So do you think now they're kind of, £3 a month, £2 a month? Do you think now they're starting to feel the pressure now that knowing that they have to pay for things like production costs, etc.?
I do know a little bit about production costs, not from what we do with channel, because that's chicken feed compared to what Eddie does. But I work with people from TV and film industry, and they've worked at Sky and done stuff with Matchroom. And when they do stuff, they're paid per hour. So when they're sat twiddling the thumbs, they've all got to be paid. You've got 9 and 10 people all sat about on £50 each an hour. That's a lot of money, mate, let me tell you. A lot of money, and you've got big trucks and wiring and all that. Look, it's all expensive, and pretty soon he'll be on his knees. But I can assure you that they're going to be the smallest payers out the top guys soon. They will be the smallest payers, and then they just drop you like a stone. For example, we all remember Anthony Sims Jr., don't we?
Yeah.
We remember him, don't we, in Nando's with Eddie? This is my new best friend. My fighters are like my family. Well, ask Anthony Sims what he feels now, because I've heard back what he really feels about Eddie.
He was meant to be the next superstar. He was getting featured, and all of a sudden Eddie starts to criticize him on interviews and this and that. It's 1 minute he's sitting eating a £12 meal in Nando's with him, and the next day he's throwing him over the bus. I totally get it. That's Eddie for you.
Yeah, it is, mate. It's well, what can you do? That's boxing, isn't it? So, all right then. Let me go through these other things. So basically, we could call this video "Frozen Out," then, can't we?
Oh, Iceland ready meals.
You what, mate? 2 seconds. You want 2 seconds? Yeah, Iceland ready meals. Yeah. Because I've got short-term memory loss, me, and I'm starting to forget all sorts of stuff. Okay, let me just wait while that turns itself on. Dillian White, now you've mentioned this. Who is it that he's going to fight? And yeah, what's he called?
There's talk now this week. There's a lot of talk about it. Eddie said he wanted to bring Dillian White over to America for an American fight, like a breakout fight.
Yeah.
So the talk is it's a fighter called Jermaine Franklin, who's 20-0 and 13 knockouts. What do you think of that as an opponent for Dillian White?
What's his record again?
He's 20 wins, no losses, and 13 knockouts.
Who's his best win?
Well, Russell, to be honest with you, his last opponent was the one and only Pavel Sar. Pavel Sar. He couldn't stop Pavel Sar.
His last opponent. I mean, they were looking at him for Dave Allen, weren't they? Dillian White is supposed to be WBC Kingpin. Dillian White You know when he looks in the mirror in the morning, it's like that. Anybody who wants it can get it, as long as they're over 40. This is a joke. How old is this chump who he's fighting?
I think he's 31, 32. Okay, and he hasn't fought since 2019, and that was the going the distance with Pavel Sar. And he's just actually recently coming out of COVID. So there seems to be like a pattern here. Does Dillian White only fight fighters that have got COVID? We've seen that Alexander Povetkin.
Let me just jump in here. Attention! Stop talking. Start listening. All you hardcores out there, I want you to tweet and Instagram Dillian White and Kugan Cassius, and I want you to tweet Bricktop in as well. And I want you to say, Kugan, why are you not asking Dillian White about this guy he's fighting who's just beat Pavel Sauer? Okay. Yeah, go on. You can carry on.
So, you know, it says a lot. So you look at the money he was getting for pay-per-view fights. You look at the fights he had against Povetkin. You look at the Oscar Rivas fight, who Oscar Rivas was only really a C-level man. You know, he wasn't even in the top 10. And the money that Dillian White was getting for those fights, do you think he's going to get anywhere near the same amount of money to fight Jermaine Franklin in America on DAZN for no pay-per-view? I can't see it happening.
3 million he got.
You would not need to even fight again after that type of purse. Do you think he would get anywhere near that to fight Jermaine Franklin in America?
They get $500,000 because it's a knockover, isn't it?
And do you think, Russell, that, you know, we all know Dillian, he goes away, bases himself in camp, and he's had a lot of injury problems the last couple of years. Do you think he's going to put himself through a 12-week camp? And the way, you know, the stresses and strains of camp on him for $500,000? I don't think so.
You just answered your own question again. No, right, Dillian White, right, let me tell you this, Dillian White. Dillian White is a prick. I don't like him. Dillian, you're a prick. I don't like you. But I've been told when he has a shit in toilet, it's like an elephant's had one. It's that big. And he stinks the whole hotel out. So he's obviously eating all wrong food, isn't he? Too many Nando's, Dillian. Get out there. Look, obviously he's got a world-class left hook, but don't talk to me about being a roadman killer and anybody who wants it can get it. When you're fighting guys like, he's fighting old men or guys that have been fighting journeymen. I don't want to see stuff like that. The conning the public, he's not fought for a European. He don't mention Ortiz's name. He don't mention Joe Joyce's name. He didn't want to fight Dubois. I've been told Chisora fights always going to be there. Once Dillian's had a couple of bad defeats, that'll be his last hurrah. So they're going to keep that to the very, very end. He don't call Hrgovic out. Eddie's going on about he can't match Hrgovic. Well, fucking get Dillian White in with him then. Winner gets Joshua. That's what they're saying, aren't they?
Yeah, IBF.
Dillian White, Hrgovic, why not?
It's the whole WBC thing for me is a take on. You know, the WBC don't want him fighting for the title. Simple as that. The title has been kind of tied up for over 2 years now. Why wouldn't you go down a different route? Why wouldn't you go down the IBF route? Well, Hrgovic is down the IBF route. The WBO route, you know, obviously is with Joshua again. So why wouldn't you go down and, you know, I think the WBC as a mandatory, you get a higher percentage in your purse. I think that's the only reason he's wanted to go through the WBC route.
Yeah.
They get a higher percentage. I think the WBC is a mandatory in all the title fights. You get a bigger percentage as a mandatory. But I ask you this. What's your opinion on Charles Martin calling him out all week? What do you think of that?
Charlie Martin, He's been smoking too much crack again, I think. You need to leave it alone. You need to leave the game alone, mate.
Do you not think he looks like Mitch Blood Green?
I think he looks like Jason Lee, who used to play up front for Nottingham Forest.
That's right. That's right. That's right. But what do you think of that? Do you think he's do you think that's a fight Dillian Whyte would take in America?
I don't know. Does he look like Mitch Blood Green? Mitch Blood Green. Is that who had a fight with Mike Tyson when he come out of Dapper Dan's?
Yep.
In Harlem. He went to
Yep.
Dapper Dan's for a leather, come out, and he was there in petrol station, and he stuck it on him, didn't he?
Yeah, he give him. I think he give. I think they had a notorious street fight. There's been documentaries made about it. I think they fought as amateurs as well, and I think he gave him a wild cut in the eye. And they were meant to fight as pros, but Mitch, they kind of put a too hard a fight in front of him that he had to win to get Mike Tyson, and he was never beaten that fight anyway. So I think they kind of kept him. I think they kind of protected Mike a wee bit in the 80s, to be honest. That's my opinion.
They put they put him in with. Did they go distance? I think they went distance, didn't it? 10 rounds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He was one of the guys to take Tyson the distance when he were icing everybody, wasn't he?
Yeah, Tyson was really well managed and really well looked after and got into positions, and yeah, he was ferocious, but Tyson was well looked after.
I think that Dillian Whyte runs over Charlie Martin, basically. That's my opinion. I don't think he does it as quick as Femi did, but I think he runs over him. All right, then. Let's move on from Dillian Whyte, the can't man. Anybody who wants it can't get it if they're under 40. Unless your name's Franklin, who's been in with Pavel fucking sour cream, whatever it's called. Joshua Usyk. Does my prediction still look good?
Yeah, well, Alex, I can't even say his name. Alex Karasayuk has been on all week asking, why have you not signed the contract yet? Why have they not signed it? It looks like it's going to be Tottenham. Why, Russell? What's your opinion?
I don't think they want to fight. I think they're waiting to see what happens with Wilder Fury. I think they're trying their best to stay away from Usyk because he is a banana skin. And it's like Peter Fury's saying, it's a 50-50. I'm saying it's a 50-50, but I'm going to go Usyk. Usyk never had no problem putting Vladimir in his top pocket when they sparred in Austria. I know people that were there, right? And that was when Vladimir were at his peak, right? And this kid were getting ready for Olympics. It was the David A fight. He camped for David A, Vladimir. That's some years ago. He'd been in his peak, Vladimir, then, before Fury got his hands on him. Now, look how easily Usyk dealt with him then, and Usyk's a better fighter now than then. And he's gone through everything at cruiserweight, and I think he goes through everybody at heavyweight except Fury. That's my opinion. Boxing's full of them. They're like arseholes. Everybody's got them. I just think it's a very, very, very hard fight. And Eddie Hearn knows that if they lose it, they're going to have a rematch. So that bogs them down for another year. And could you imagine them having to rematch Usyk again and put Fury fight off? They'd be run out of town, mate, wouldn't they? Why don't they call them rematch room instead of match room?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Russell.
I mean?
I actually, the more I see AJ, the more confused I see in fights. Even against Pule for the first 3 rounds, you could see he was in between styles. He was kind of like in between hearing 3 different styles and variations of training and camp. And I think the minute he does that against someone like Tyson Fury, he will be run over. I think if he does it against someone as technical as Usyk, he will be completely outboxed. Russell, it's like this. It's kind of like the Frank Bruno effect. you don't have to be a puncher to beat him. You don't have to be a big puncher to beat AJ. As long as that fight goes on, and the more vulnerable he is, the more oxygen he's using, I think Usyk will stop him late. I think he'll stop him late. That's my opinion. I think he'll struggle with the technique, and I think Usyk will be able to exploit those technical weaknesses. I can't see how having 3 trainers in camp is going to help against the technical wizard of Usyk, who, in my opinion, he's lost probably 2 rounds in the last 3 fights. He's that good. He will outbox and he'll stop him late.
Right. Okay. Eddie said there's going to be a Joshua Usyk announcement on 18th. So everybody put that in your diaries, 18th. But we had this a few weeks ago and he said it was going to be 1st of July. So now it's 18th now. Because he said,
I don't want it.
He said 2 weeks from 4th, that's 18th. So
I don't want to hear this. You know, I remember after a Kell Brook fight that he basically said that the Shane Mosley fight was going to be announced tomorrow. I'm still waiting on that. You know, Kell Brook against Shane Mosley. I'm still waiting on the announcement for over a year with Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I don't care what date it is, Russell. I don't care what he says about dates and announcements. I don't care anymore because he said so much and he hasn't really come up with the goods, to be honest.
Okay. Let's have a look. Are these Mexicans playing him? I mean, he seems to be obsessed by being friends with Eddie Reynoso at the moment and giving all his fighters carte blanche. What do you think to that, Kent?
Absolutely. It's because the American thing, Russell. You know, it's because it looks like, as you say, he's been frozen out of the American network. And he's got that massive, I was speaking to Richard about this during the week, he's got this massive Hispanic audience now. He's trying to tap into that. He's got Canelo, but do you think that once that show's over, that they'll just dump Hearn and leave him with egg in his face? Do you think they're just using him?
Well, what he did say, and I don't know if they're going to use him. I think they are. I mean, everybody uses everybody in boxing, but what he did say, he sat down with Canelo and Canelo's team and said, "Look, if you want to go on another network, it's okay. I just want to work with you." That to me is fucking cap in hand with begging bowl, isn't it? Ain't he got no pride? You'd be saying, "Listen, you're on DAZN. I'm with DAZN. If you want to work, we're on DAZN. If you want to go on another channel, go on it, but don't come running back." Why don't you let low down? He said, "Oh, if you want to go on another channel, I just want to be involved and I'll co-promote and all that, you know, with them. You know, be a voice for them and all that for a fee and that." You're fucking whoring yourself out. If Canelo wants to go on another channel, why would Eddie want to fucking help promote Canelo on another channel? That'd be fucking detriment to DAZN. You see, the problem you've got with this cunt here, he wants to be in everybody's fucking camp and everybody's business. What about keeping your own house in order? Do you know what I mean? Unbelievable.
What about asking Kell Brook that?
What?
Ask Kell Brook. You know, Kell Brook went and fought and got a big offer to fight on a different network.
Oh,
and
yeah,
all of a sudden,
crying his eyes out, wasn't he then? Fucking spat his dummy out, didn't he? Well, it's okay for fucking Canelo to do it. Good point, that, Ken. That's why you're the fucking hardcore's fucking hardcore.
You know, Russell, let's be honest. You know, Kell Brook was a welterweight and he jumped up in with the middleweight champion of the world. The IBF didn't even sanction the fight and he basically got his orbital bone and his face smashed in. And the way he's being treated by Eddie Hearn was an absolute disgrace.
Well, that's his fault for listening to his fucking trainer, old Flex Ingle, the gym is that way, and his stepdad. Pair of them never had a fucking fight in their lives. So, well, Dominic's had one, hasn't he? He jumped up floor after 10 seconds. Get me fucking out of here, Dad. While his dad was looking through ropes. Get me fucking out of here. So, you know what I mean? That's what you get when you listen to people like that and you're greedy. Greed reaches into Korea. And that was the beginning of the end of probably our greatest ever welterweight, or could have been.
Absolutely. I had him up there. I thought he was going to be, for me, the next Lloyd Honeyghan of British boxing. He an amazing style. I always rated Kell Brook, and I was so disappointed, Russell. Do you think his defenses, the defenses he had were really poor? And I think it affected his later career because he wasn't tested in any of those fights. His profile suffered as well. Yeah. But the point I want to make and answer your question is, Russell, that as we say, he's in DAZN now. He's got budget on production. He's got a smaller budget and everything else. And he's desperate now. He has to make this work. I can't see Joshua going to DAZN. I can't see it. And he needs a pay-per-view star. He needs that attraction. Without Canelo in DAZN, do you think they're done already?
Yeah, I do. I think if Canelo fucks about on another platform, Eddie's on his knees, and they're going to try and block Canelo now. That Caleb Plant fight's not made. That leaves them, the only option is they've got to go to Beterbiev, haven't they, or Beterbiev, however you want to pronounce it. They've got to fight him, but they don't really want him because he's a fucking real-life bogeyman.
Well, you go back 6 months, Russell, before the Yildirim fight, and he turned around and said that he wasn't going up to light heavyweight. He wasn't. He was going to clean out the division and fight Caleb Plant. Now, all of a sudden, the language just changed. Why is that?
Because they're being frozen out, aren't they?
Do you honestly think Al Haymon, the big dog, is going to throw Matchroom a bone to build DAZN in America?
No, Eddie's naive. I don't know who's filling him full of shit. Do you feel then that Eddie Hearn's just paying Canelo lip service, but really he's on the back foot out there, and that Canelo's team might be thinking, fucking hell, what's this guy doing for us here? We never had this problem with De La Hoya. What do you think?
Yeah, well, the whole thing, you can say what you want about De La Hoya. I know he's got a load of issues, and I've criticised him on the channel. But he does know how to build territories. He does know how to build fighters, and he does work with other networks. Now they've come in with a guy who won't even work with his fellow British promoters to help his fighters. I think it's their own. I think it's their own fault. To be honest, I don't care.
Yeah. Okay. Triple G Andrade. Is it going to happen?
I think if it happens, Andrade, I'll smash him to pieces.
Saunders, Triple G. Does that happen? Saunders, Andrade.
No.
Andrade, Charlo.
No.
No. Al Haymon and Hearn, they're not going to do that, are they? Caleb Plant, Canelo. No.
No chance. No chance.
Caleb Plant against Saunders.
It depends, Russell. It really does depend. I think it depends. You know what Eddie's like. Once Eddie gets a fighter and gets as much out of them as he can, they're thrown the wolves. You know that. I could actually see Billy Joe Saunders fight Caleb Plant happening closer than I can see Canelo and Caleb Plant.
Okay, what about Billy Joe Saunders joining Al Haymon then? Because he's not got a deal with Eddie, has he? What about him going to Al Haymon?
I think it's a great idea for him. I think the thing what Al Haymon does with fighters, he doesn't sign them on contracts. He has them as an advisor, and they're given opportunities to fight on PBC, but they can also go and fight in other platforms. So I think it would be a better thing for him to go to Al Haymon than any. I think it'd be better for any fighter in the world to go to Al Haymon than any of these other promoters.
Yeah. Okay. Is Eddie struggling to pull anything off at the moment? I mean, John Ryder. What is he doing for John Ryder? Everything doesn't seem to be going so rosy for John Ryder. He's like the forgotten man of British boxing, isn't he, or matchroom boxing?
Yeah, there's a guy there. It's a British Commonwealth European champion. I thought he was very unlucky against Callum Smith in a really tight fight. He has fought everybody. He's even come in and give Billy Joe Saunders a fight, but I think it's a shame. Why haven't they even got him the Triple G fight? That would be a good fight for him.
Yeah. What do you think about John Ryder against Billy Joe rematch?
I think it's still. I think Billy Joe's still got a big profile. He's still got a massive profile in UK. I think it would be a really good fight. I think it wouldn't be for a title, obviously. I don't think Billy Joe Saunders would want to go in and fight anything next that's not a title fight. I don't think he would fight in an eliminator. I don't think he would fight for an interim. I don't think he would fight for anything that wouldn't be big money. So logistically, it's a great matchup. It's a great fight. But I can't see Billy Joe Saunders taking a fight that he's going to be paid a lot less for.
Okay. Okay, what about Billy Joe Saunders against Chris Eubank? Because that's what's doing the whispers at the moment.
That fight is enormous. That fight doesn't need to be for a title. It doesn't. You know that. You know. Think about it, Russell. Apart from KSI, who has Wasserman and Sarland actually signed?
Nobody really. Eubank.
So they're on Sky. They're on that Sky platform, and Sky, as we know, are going into this. You know, KSI signed this deal with Sky and Wasserman, and they're going to do this celebrity boxing ring, and it's probably going to be pay-per-view. Sky need pay-per-views. I think Billy Joe Saunders and Eubank Jr. would be absolutely a massive fight. Who do you think wins that?
Between Saunders and Eubank?
Yeah.
I think Eubank beats him on points. I think he beats him on points, Eubank. Too fit, too seasoned. I think Billy's fragile. Billy's fragile now. I think what you're going to see now is somebody that's been at top of hill and been on the way down, but I think he's been on his way down since after the Lemieux fight. Because I think he got carried away with his own self-importance after that. And I think trying to get back fit and this and that, your body, when you get to that age, after 30, you can't do it. You've got to treat your body better. I think it all came home to roost in the Canelo fight. He'd never been in a firefight. And he didn't stand there saying, I'm a firefighter. Put this fire out. He didn't. He jumped out the window, didn't he? So,
yeah, it's at the stages of their career. You look at Eubank's career. You know, he's kind of one of these guys that just seems to be waiting on fighters coming down on the way down, just like his dad did. You know, his dad built a career out of it. I think it depends how much he's got left, Russell. It really has a lot to know that what he's got left. I think personally, I think they despise each other. They really don't like each other. And I think it could probably give Billy a wee bit of an incentive, but I really don't know what he's got left after the Canelo fight. But Eubank Jr., I can't see him fighting anybody at all, because the next time he's beat Russell, his career's over. Yeah. And they're looking for him as that figurehead on Sky, on Wasserman. So I can't see that. I could actually see Kell Brook fighting Eubank Jr. next.
Yeah. Kell Brook against Eubank Jr. I'm hearing they were trying to make Kell Brook Amir Khan. You know, that's what I'm hearing. Speaking to his old man about it, and you know, people just won't leave that alone, will they? It's like an obsession, isn't it? So
it's terrible. You know, the guys wouldn't fight each other for a purse of like 5 million between them like 4 years ago. I don't think they're going to fight now for less than a quarter of that. Nah, can't see it happening. Can't see it happening, Russell.
Kell Brook's dad's running about saying they'll take 1.5 million.
There's no interest in it. Who's going to buy that fight, Russell? Would you buy it?
Now, Dennis offered them 2.8 million a few years back, and Calm were getting 4.1, and they didn't like it. I saw contracts, saw offers.
Unbelievable. On what platform would that have been on, Russell?
Well, if you remember, Dennis and Asif Valley went down to Anthony Joshua's gym opening in London. This is a few years ago. It was round about the time when Dennis's dad died. You could think it were, his dad was dying. Round about December, January, 3 or 4 years ago. His dad died January 10th, I think it was 2018. Amir's birthday was the December, just before that. Then Dennis's dad died. Then they went out to the Frampton Santa Cruz fight. That was at the beginning of the year, wasn't it, if you remember?
Yep.
And they went out to Los Angeles, then to Vegas, trying to make that fight with Amir Khan and Kell Brook. And Asif thought it'd be good to take Dennis's mind off, his dad passing away and that.
Yeah.
Maybe it might have been, but they spent a lot of money chasing about and that, and they couldn't get it on then. And Dennis came home in end out of frustration, flew home on his own and said the fight's dead in water. And now people are still talking about it, and even Dennis was even talking about it with certain people wanting to put it on. Why would you want to put Kell Brook Khan on? It's a fucking dog. It's a dog with fleas, isn't it?
No, it's not a fight I want to see. It's two fighters way past their best. We'll probably get, coming out of the Engel camp saying he's in the best shape ever. He's making weight great, and he's been struggling with weight for 10 years. But every time he seems to go back to that weight, and it's always better. No, I don't want to hear this nonsense anymore. No, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. It's
stronger, faster, quicker than a speeding bullet.
It's way past date, Russell. So it is. So I want to ask you a question, Russell. So this weekend was the 100-year anniversary of Jack Dempsey fighting in the first ever sanctioned title fight in boxing. And that was the old NBA title, which is now the WBA title. There was 82,000 people in attendance for that fight. And Jack Dempsey actually made a $500,000 purse. So we go back to last weekend again, and we had Tank Davis against Barrios for the WBA light welterweight title. What is that about? Is Josh Taylor not the undisputed champion?
Yeah, but in that the regular belt that Tank's just won.
How can it be announced as the light welterweight champion of the world?
Because they have a super champion, don't they, and a regular, don't they? And don't they have an interim and a gold? There's 4 champions, isn't there, with WBA? I don't know. It's all confusing, isn't it? They're corrupt, aren't they? Gilberto Mendoza, you're an arsehole. Come see me, you fucking knobhead.
How has Gilbert Mendoza never been weapon of the week or helmet of the month on this channel? I have no idea.
You don't ever
I can't believe it.
We don't hear him speak, do we?
I just think now that I can actually see, Russell, down the line that sanctioning bodies are actually going to create titles for YouTubers. Can you see that happening?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can see it happening. It's coming. Listen, these YouTube events, I mean, like Paulie Malignaggi, you're a fucking bad smell hanging around boxing. Fuck off. Whatever the money you've made in boxing, consider it severance pay. Take the train, get out of Dodge, you prick. You fucking feather duster, man.
It's just got to the stage now where, you look at shows and cards, there's even like WBC silver titles, there's titles for titles and for titles. I am just sick to death of it. Do you think, Russell, now that boxing's kind of gone down the way that the hardcores are actually forgot about and they're just kind of pandering to the casual fans all the time?
Well, if you look on one of Dennis's shows, he's got the WB Summer fucking Mediterranean or something? Have you seen that? On one of Dennis's boxer, on one of Dennis's white collar shows, the one at Belts is I'm not sure if it's WBC or have a look. Can you have a look, Kent, there on Dennis's next show? Can you have a look on your thing or can't you do it? I'm sure one at Belts is the
Mediterranean.
WBC. Yeah, the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean. What is that? Does that mean they're going to fight it out at sea or something? Like when Josh Whale were going to fight for WBF. Was that a Mediterranean belt? Because it was going to be on a fucking boat. What the fuck's happened? What has happened to boxing, mate? What?
Boxing's got this stage now where it's been diluted so much. So like the first two titles in boxing was the WBA and the WBC in 73. Now we've kind of got this stage where there's a title for I like there's going to be a title for journeyman now. There's going to be titles for YouTubers. I think even networks or even Triller have created their own title. I think now that the titles now, ask you a question, Russell. So you go back and you look at fighters like Thomas Hearns and Roberto Duran, and they went up 4 and 5 divisions each. Do you think now that achievement of climbing divisions and winning title means a lot less now?
Of course it does, yeah. When you've got people like Conor Benn bucking the trends, skipping all the levels, and he's not won fuck all, but he's fucking world ranked and he's shouting off his pay-per-view. Why don't you go fight McKinson or Chris Conger or Chris Jenkins, you little prick?
Or Lewis Crockett from Belfast?
Or Lewis Crocker from Belfast, instead of calling out Sean Porter, Amir Khan, and fucking hell. What are you going to do next? Beat Grenadus and call out Errol Spence? Get the fuck out of here!
You know, Granados is 3 fights ago, he fought a guy as a 1 and 3 fighter. Like that's the level he's at, and he's crying about like, I've beat world level guys, I'm world class, I deserve to be in the top 10. Why does he not fight for a European title? Why does he not fight a local guy like Michael McKinston or any of those guys, or even Crockett? I am sick to death of Conor Benn on thinking that boxing owes him a favor. Boxing doesn't owe him anything. You know, do you think now nepotism in boxing is getting out of control?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
And do you think that those guys, you know, you go back and you look at guys like Leon Spinks, was an IBF world champion. You look at Tracy Harris Patterson, was a WBC world champion. You look at Goody Asparez Jr., who was a WBC champion. They were actually guys that could actually fight. Out of Eubank Jr., Conor Benn, Tim Costa-Yazoo, Chavez Jr., Shane Mosley Jr., can any of them guys actually fight?
Now they're living off their old man's name. Of course they can fight that, but they're not as good as the dads, are they? I suppose you could say, couldn't you?
Do you think it hurts the sport? You know, the sport is getting drip fed these type of fights. Do you think it actually affects now that the lower level guys, the guys that don't have a profile?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it like this, right? Marvis Fraser Jr., you know, he fought Mike Tyson, didn't he? Yeah. He were getting mega dough, you know, back in the day to turn pro, mega dough, right? Because of who his old man was, but he didn't have it. And I don't see any fighter who's as good as his dad out there. Do you?
So that's a good one. I thought Leon Spinks was very good. I thought Leon Spinks was a very good fighter. He won multiple world titles. He beat Ricardo Mayorga. He was very avoided.
Leon. You weren't called Leon, what a Corey were called, wasn't
Corey Spinks. Corey the Jinx Spinks.
Yeah.
So apart from him, I can't see that. No, they're not. But I think now boxing's all about, as you say, it's about viewership. It's about that name brand value, that word name brand value. Do you think that's actually helping grassroots boxing or killing it?
Look, we can go around in circles with all this. And point I want to make is Leon Spinks ended up a beggar on the streets, right? And he was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world in the late 70s. He ended up a beggar on the streets. Joe Frazier was the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, Olympic gold medalist. He ended up a homeless guy living above a gym. This is the harsh reality. These promoters are not your fucking mates. Shape up, or get gone. But I don't know about that with grassroots and that. I don't know, but it is affecting grassroots boxing. People's kids, people who are millionaires, the kids taking up boxing, and then being manoeuvred to money fights and that. And there's people putting the time in the sport, and they're not going to get them chances that these others are getting. Like Conor Ben, he frightened to death to fight for a British title. His old man was frightened as well. He didn't want to fight Errol Bomber Graham, his dad, you know.
Definitely not.
Didn't want to fight Errol Bomber Graham or Brian Anderson.
Even Mike McCollum, you know, Mike McCollum was over at Britain, based in Britain at the time, and Michael Watson.
Watson fought him, yeah.
Yeah, and Ben didn't want any of that smoke at all. Didn't want any of that. Russell, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Where's boxing going to be in 10 years?
Skid Row. We're going to be having. It's going to be like darts. When they come out at darts, you've seen what happens. Well, boxing's heading like that. It's going to be in Eddie Hearn's garden, and we're going to be having people walking around, juggling balls and that. Men on trapezes, flying monkeys. We're going to have all sorts. People walking around in voodoo suits and Barry Hearn running about in a mankini.
Hope not. Definitely hope not.
That's where it's heading for Skid Row. It's heading for Skid Row, but people can't see it because the product's watered down. So we're making a stand, aren't we?
We're the hardcores.
We are the fucking voice of hardcore boxing, aren't we, Ken? You know.
Worky, you've said a lot of bad language today. You're not getting paid for this video, man.
I've not been paid for the last 17.
I've seen that. I think you're not going to book with Mick too much. I think Mick's rubbing off too much on you.
This is how I look at it. Yeah, probably. This is how I look at it. As long as it pays all expenses, I'm not really bothered, and it has for this month. So I didn't get in it to make money. I got in it to do something I love. But as long as it ain't costing me like it has for the first 2.5 years, I'm not bothered. But we've been going 4 year October, so it ain't costing me now. So I'm having a bit of fun, so why not? But if I want to F and blind, I do. I get a bit of Tourette because it gets you frustrating, doesn't it? This shower of shit that we're dealing with gets me frustrated. But now people keep saying, okay, you're only having Mickey Theo on channel to make money off ads. We fucking swear in every video, doesn't it, mate?
Every video.
Even sport, right? In my biggest ever video, which is 104,000, swore in that. And I'm like, Mick, you know, that should be doing like 300 quid, that, but it's gone, isn't it, once you swore?
You should have added it.
Well, you're going to pay to edit it. I'll have to pay them, so it's...
I know. Finally, Russell, I just want to touch on something as well that is probably a bit personal to you.
Yeah, right,
Did you enjoy Daka's video at the weekend with Neil Malpass?
Yeah, I did, and I've agreed to go on Decker's pod with Neil Malpass on Friday. So I'm on there on Friday. Let's have a look. I don't know if it's in here. Yeah, you could see. I'll get it.
You could see the respect that Daka had for him. He was kind of an aura of him. Very good guy. Legend. What a legend. What great stories. I think he should bring a book out. I think it would be great of him to bring a book out. It'd be so interesting. So interesting.
He's been here. He trains. His son trains with Chris Medley at Sheffield. Connor, same age as Tommy Fury, same weight. He's going to be turning pro in a couple of months with him, South Yorkshire Packaging. And they've got another kid up there. He's going to be ready to turn pro after Christmas. He's a lightweight, I think. The other kid on the photo. But yeah, these are dipping the toes into boxing. They're horse racing people, though, aren't they? But Connor's all right. His dad's obviously goes to every session and that. Whether he wants to see it out or what, I don't know. It's up to Connor. But we'll see, won't we? But he's a good kid, and his dad's
it's a good interest for them both.
Yeah, his dad's got a gym in Doncaster. He teaches UFC and stuff like that, and boxing and all that. But Connor's a good kid. He's only 22. His dad's all right. I was disappointed with what his dad said when he said he thought that the John Fury fight were a draw. I was sat there ringside. It won't want a draw. Well, why he said that? Probably don't want to be controversial. Don't want to make enemies. He lives just down the road from Tyson Fury's in-laws. You know, his wife's family. So he probably didn't want to rock the boat. But I wouldn't have fucking come out and said, "Oh, a draw would have been a fair result." Well, what? How are they on night, mate? So I don't know.
He's a very unassuming man and very humble, and I really enjoyed it. It was great.
Yeah, he's all right. He's all right, Neil. I've known him years. Known him since known him about 30 years, just over 30 years. But yeah, he's all right. So I'm going to go on there on Friday, and I've got Decker coming on here on Friday, 6 o'clock. That'll be out at 7 or 7:30. Then I'm on his program at 8. So
great.
But he seems all right. That Decker, he seems a decent.
Good guy. Very, very hardworking. Great content. Really enjoy it. Been watching the stuff for about a year now, so fantastic. Just keep building it up. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's all good stuff. So I believe you've got an appointment at 12:30. Yeah, where are you going?
Training session to do. Got a run to do. Yeah. So no boxing yet. I do one bag session a week. I've got an aqua bag, so I use that once a week, but just doing a bit of running and stuff and endurance-based stuff. So I'm going to go for a run later on.
You look like you're built for running.
Yeah. I used to probably the same weight this is probably the heaviest I've been and ever. So I'm just trying to get the lockdown bars of chocolate and crisps and all off. So I just it's very warm over here at the minute. It's roasting every day. It's just scorching. So get out and enjoy the heat and the sun and get a bit of fitness back.
Good man. Okay then. Well, listen, you have a great day, Ken. Good luck with your training session. And it's now 12 o'clock. Is it 12 o'clock?
12:03.
12:03. I'll get this out for past if I can. I'll just got to wait up for. In fact, have a look. While you're here, you can hear me order thumbnail. Let's get this thumbnail ordered. Johnny, have you got that thumbnail for me? The one I asked for last night? The Frozen one. Just use something like a cartoon thing off the internet. Frozen. And put Eddie Hearn's face like he's frozen in an ice cube. And what I want you to do on it, I want you to put a picture of Leonard Ellerby, Bob Arum, Al Heyman. Stick all pictures of them. Put Bricktop on it as well.
Oh,
all stood around Eddie Hearn frozen in a fucking ice cube. Make him look a cunt. All right, mate? So I want to get this out for 12:30, so can we crack on with that? All right, mate. Cheers. I've got away with words, haven't I?
You're very creative, Russell.
I try my best. Okay, then. Listen. Peace out, Ken. Keep on trucking. Keep supporting boxing. Don't have nightmares.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.